Hey Capricorn, thanks for joining me back for the July readings. It's been so nice that I decided to venture outside and do your reading out here in the woods, and I don't regret this decision whatsoever. So if you're an avid tarot watcher, you already know that this is eclipse season, and that the eclipses are going to be falling between the Cancer and Capricorn axis. And what does that mean for you guys? Well, that means new cycles, new growth, new transformation, new. And if you are experiencing your first Saturn return, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You are not the same person that you used to be. And life is giving you plenty of opportunities to heal your past, to transform and change into who you have always wanted to become. So what you can expect this month, and of course I just want to remind you that I do a much more detailed description of how the planets affect each of the signs and what you can expect from those transits on my website, guidedmetanoia, METANOIA, and that's for free. So if you enjoy the astrology and you want a very specific and clear picture of what you can expect, go there, do that, because what I'll be covering is just an overview for the sake of the video. I don't want to take away from the tarot reading and and what the cards want to say to you, Capricorn. So on July 2nd, we are going to have the total solar eclipse. And for a masculine sign like you, that is going to impact you with a greater severity than some of the other earth signs, because even though you're an earth sign, and that's of the feminine quality, such is the water signs as well, you will be able to navigate it with a certain kind of ease. But your ruling planet, Saturn, is a masculine planet. And so when the sun is being eclipsed and when its light is not able to be seen, and granted, this is probably not going to be visible for most of the northern hemisphere. I think certain parts of South America will be able to see it. So it's not something that I think a lot of the people within my reach and my community are going to be privy to. It doesn't mean that it won't affect you. And the severity of it will depend on the type of transformation and growth you've allowed yourself to experience. If you've been pushing the boulder up the hill and you've been resisting, changing and growing and transforming and becoming something different, the eclipses are going to feel like somebody has pulled the rug out from under you. If you have succumbed to the greater forces at work and you are doing your due diligence and you are making contributed effort to leave behind old patterns, old cycles, old habits, and you are embracing change and having fun with the process, the total solar eclipse will allow you to experience a sense of emotional, I don't know that I'd call it intelligence, but this sort of emotional awareness that may not have been available to you. So amidst your growth, if you feel ungrounded, which is very difficult for a Capricorn because that's sort of your thing, you know, despite the changes that happen and occur, you guys are very good about being diligent in terms of your routines. So you keep a nice balance between certainty and variety. And the eclipse will somehow allow you to it's somewhat difficult to put into words. You're going to have to feel your way through it. That's the best way that I can put it. And by feel your way through it, it's like walking into, and this is what I said in the Cancer reading, it's like walking into a dark room. And if you're not used to using your other senses, turning your sense of touch and your sense of hearing, if you're not used to being in your body and using your senses in such a way, the lack of light will feel very disorienting. But if you're the kind of person where you are keen on using all of your senses and all of your experiences, and you have succumbed to unexpected change, navigating a total solar eclipse is not difficult. And then, of course, we have the full moon on the 16th and the partial lunar eclipse at that time. What that can do for you, and what I would tell you, is to look back to the patterns that have been happening for you in terms of your relationships and how you've been navigating relationships since about January, because there is a way of processing certain experiences and a way of connecting and loving with other people that needs to go. And the partial lunar eclipse will allow you to almost make peace with sending something off. Okay? So as far as the other transits, you know, home and family is certainly highlighted. You have Chiron in your 4th house, but Cancer is the ruler of the home and family sector. And so there are a lot of new growth that is occurring in those particular areas, but ultimately it's allowing you to heal and to almost nurture yourself in such a way that you have maybe never experienced before. And that's a beautiful thing. Frankly, it's just fantastic. So as far as the other transits goes, check out your astro maps. I don't want to take up any more time. As far as your tarot is concerned, I can feel that there's a sense of patience that's coming through, and that the cards are willing to give whatever time is necessary for the right cards to come about. And if you are processing certain emotional pain from your past, I see that here with the 3 of Swords, but there's something about releasing the burdensome energy of those events that is now going to be possible for you. It's something like it's circled back enough times for you to have reprocessed it to, again, make your peace. Cancer really speaks to the brute force of water, and that is most often represented in the ocean. And it's so, I want to say it's so typical to say like, oh, go to the ocean. But there is such a healing quality about being at the ocean that you can surrender and experience an immense amount of peace. And if you are experiencing the beautiful weather that we are in the Northern Hemisphere, I would encourage you to go to water, okay? If you can't go to the beach, spend time in nature, find your way to the streams, to a lake, to a pond, and make peace with the pain of your past. I see the 10 of Staffs, which is the 10 of Wands, and that coming up in the reverse is a very good sign, because it means that the burden of carrying that kind of heartache is something that is, I think it's on its last leg. There is still something that has to happen, and I think for you, it's a matter of, what do you want to create now? What do you want to do with What do you want to do with the stuff that you're still processing? Where do you want to see it go? What do you want to happen from here? Most of the time when I work with clients on this kind of stuff, especially in a one-on-one soul session, it's more about, I just want the thing to go away. And most of the time, what my clients don't realize is that every experience you have serves a very, not a particular purpose, but comes with a very significant value. And if you haven't not only discovered the kind of pain that a traumatic experience can bring, or the pain of just an event or an experience, if you haven't processed that enough, it's very likely that you haven't quite come to the other side of the perspective of saying, well, if I didn't have this kind of pain, I wouldn't have been able to experience this thing. And I know in speaking of my own situations, I deal with a lot of anxiety, and for a very long time, that only manifested for me in terms of fear. And so I was always very afraid to try new things, afraid to go to different places, afraid to travel, because the experience of coming close to that kind of fear was so anxiety inducing, and that I didn't realize what my anxiety was trying to communicate. And that being a sense of fear that I don't know how to protect myself, and a sense of not trusting myself, and a sense of not trusting others, and ultimately learning the relationship that my anxiety is also what gives me my ability to connect with other people, and to be empathic, to be, I wouldn't say hypersensitive, but it is a keenly aware of a lot of things, not only within me, but outside of me. So I was able to make peace with my anxiety when I understood in its fullness what purpose it has for me. So I think with the Three of Swords and the Ten of Wands and the Three of Wands, you're learning, you're still in the process of releasing the burdens of past pain, and haven't quite come to the period of what do I do with what I'm learning. And I would tell you to be patient with yourself. And you have 2 threes in your reading, because the next card that comes up is the Three of Pentacles, but it's in reverse. And that speaks to this kind of energy where it's perhaps you're assessing what you'd like to invest in, but it's the nature that perhaps you're not being appreciated and viewed for your contributions, and that has allowed you to sort of retreat in a particular way. And we have 3 threes. 3 of Swords, 3 of Staffs, 3 of Pentacles. 3 is a card of manifestation. I think I just said that. But beyond that, it is the connection of the mind, the body, and the spirit, which is precisely the kind of work that I enjoy doing with people. And that is about connecting with and having appreciation for the way that your mind works, the stories that we tell ourselves, the kind of things that we look to create through our imagination, using the body in such a physical way that we can create it in the world, and then being connected to it in the sense that this is what I desire to create, this is what I believe to be my purpose, this is somehow a delivery of my truth. And if you get stuck in the pain, it's very hard to, I understand that it's very hard to move through some of those things. So as such a cardinal sign, you may want to take the burden on of processing your own stuff, And what I would tell you is that it's very important for you to be vulnerable about your pain and about your experiences and about what it is that you are trying to create, and allow and enroll others in those things, because as a cardinal sign, you know, we're all leaders in some way. I have my sun is in Libra, and my North Node is in Aries, and I have a Cancer moon, and I have a lot of cardinal energy, and it's this sense of, I don't really need anybody's help. I'm going to go do my own thing. I don't need people to come along with me. But what I would tell you is if you surrender to those kind of thoughts, it's a very lonely experience. And certain parts of our journey are meant to be experienced with others. And if it's preventing you from moving forward, if it's preventing you from understanding what to create and how to create this dynamic where everybody is being equally treated, equally appreciated, everybody coming together for the greater good of things, that's all part of the plan. That's all part of the plan. And I ask you, as if I were in a soul session with you and coaching you, what is it that you want to create? What do you want to create? And how can you work with others in doing that? And how can you not let your pain stop you from that process? So, next card out, Wheel of Fortune in reverse. The World card and the Wheel of Fortune have come up quite a bit in a lot of the other and sort of private readings that I've done, because the eclipses talk about new cycles beginning, old cycles ending, new. And the Wheel of Fortune may speak to, I almost want to clarify that card, because if you're not willing to step forward, you are only resisting the change that is wanting to come through for you. There's no other way to say it. I'm just curious as to why. And I think it's because if you don't have the vision forward, it's very hard to go anywhere. And if you get stuck with your pain, it can be a very limiting experience. But when the cards are out, whether they're in the upright or they're in the reverse, the energies are available to you, and the universe clearly wants to give you a release. And Cancer season, because it's a cardinal sign, it is going to have its, doesn't sound nice, it's going to have its way with you, whether you go willingly or not. Okay? So what needs to end must end. And I understand that release and surrender, and my advising you to release and surrender is so much easier said than done. But really, when you think about it, you are not really, I'll use this as an example, you're not really holding on to the thing that brings you pain, or the thing that is of heartache for you. You're not really holding on to that thing. You're holding on to a memory of the thing, which is preventing you and blocking you from what is available to come in and fill its spot. Okay? And there's something about what you make that pain mean that also gives you the tight grip of it. I hope I'm making some sense. This is all going to be a little bit different for each of you, because you all are dealing with pain in different ways. So there's no like one size fits all approach, but there are certain themes that will apply to you. And all I can do is give you the tools that you need to try to learn how and when to apply them. So transformation, endings, these are things that are coming for you and are coming for many of the signs. And that just this card alone is very fear-inducing, the Death card. But really, the Death card represents Scorpio, and it talks about how the Scorpios hold sort of two worlds together, how one thing may be ending, but at the same time, something new being born. And that's what's awaiting you. Something new, something beautiful. And what I see is still not wanting to move on from certain things. The Eight of Cups speaks about moving on to find new and passionate pursuits and a sense of fulfillment, and leaving behind cycles of things that don't really fulfill you anymore. But I do see that all of this pain is teaching you how to master your emotions. And the King of Cups really does speak to Cancer. I mean, it's not the Queen of Cups, but regardless, the King of Cups talks about being learning how to master your emotions. And the beautiful thing about that is when you learn how to master your emotions, you have the capability of not only working and responding differently to the people in your family and the people that you work with and your other communities, but you shine the light for others to want to pursue the same, which is so that's really beautiful. That's really, really beautiful. I would say that there is something very significant in terms of a strong male figure, perhaps a father. Could be of the sign Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Doesn't have to be, but there is a nod at culminating this certain way of being that maybe has been modeled to you. But that may be for some of you. I don't think that's for everybody, but that came through to me. But the King of Cups is learning about emotional mastery, and so that's what the cards have in store for you this month. You're almost at the end of releasing some kind of burden, the heaviness of something that you've carried with you for a very long time. But the pathway of what to do with that and what comes next has yet to be created, and that may even evolve over the course of the month. I just want to pull an additional clarifier for the Wheel of Fortune for Capricorn. Can we please clarify the Wheel of Fortune in reverse? Okay, so there are some this is, sorry, Five of Swords, and it's not even a Mercury retrograde yet. Five of Swords in reverse talks about needing to stop the process, release the process of sabotaging thinking. And what I mean by sabotaging thinking is you move throughout your day and you may have a thought that occurs to you, like, oh, I should go for my yoga certification. And you may have another thought that begins to surround that thought with a criticism or a judgment, or some kind of doubt about that particular thought. And it may prevent you from engaging with your original intention. And so the Five of Swords talks about a hard-won victory that you can have with others, but when I see that card, the swords represent the mind and the mental processes. And if you've had experiences with people where there's been arguments and you can't tell if you're in the right or they're in the right, are they being manipulative? Aren't they being manipulative? Is there gaslighting going on? And if you don't know what gaslighting is like, you may be in an argument with somebody and they'd be like, I don't understand why you're getting so upset. I'm not upset. You get like this every time we argue. And it flips your way around, and it gets you thinking like, oh my gosh, do I really do this? Do I do this all the time? Is this my fault? Is this my thing? And so, situations like that, there is either you doing it to you or other people doing it to you, and there is this sense of needing to move out of the realm of the mind, because that process is a very painful one. So I still see that there's quite a lot of work that you guys are going to be doing throughout the month of July, and that the new cycles that need to begin will meet you where you are, and anything left over is going to be absorbed into the new cycle. It's not like you've got to rush to get all this work done so you can, get on the boat, so to speak. I'm going to pick a card from the Osho Zen deck as your oracle card. I don't get to spend too much time out here, so I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Okay, you had two cards come out. Harmony. Harmony and laziness. When I think of a Capricorn, laziness is not the word that actually comes to mind. And it's funny, they're both the suit of water, which is what we were talking about, you mastering your emotions. And they are sequential. So maybe moving away from laziness and into harmony, which would be beautiful. So let me read that to you. This gentleman clearly thinks he's got it made. He sits in his big overstuffed chair wearing his sunglasses, shaded by his umbrella, with his pink slippers and his pina colada in his hand. He doesn't have the energy to get up and do anything because he thinks he's done it already. He hasn't yet turned to see the mirror cracking around him on his right, a sure sign that the place he thinks is finally arrived at is about to shatter and dissolve before his eyes. The message in this card is that this poolside resort is not your final destination. The journey isn't over yet. As that white bird flying into the vastness of the sky is trying to show, your complacency might have arisen from a real sense of achievement, but now it's time to move on. No matter how fuzzy the slippers, how tasty the pina colada, there are skies upon skies still waiting to be explored. Cool. Let's read harmony. The experience of resting in the heart in meditation is not something that can be grasped or forced. It comes naturally, and as we grow more and more in tune with the rhythms of our own inner silences. The figure in this card reflects the sweetness and delicacy of this experience. The dolphins that emerge from the heart and make an arc towards the third eye reflect the playfulness and intelligence that comes when we're able to connect with the heart and move into the world from there. Let yourself be softer and more receptive now, because an inexpressible joy is waiting for you just around the corner. Nobody else can point it out to you, and when you find it, you won't be able to find the words to express it to others. But it's there, deep within your heart, ripe and ready to be discovered. How cool. So, you're definitely on a journey of the heart. I hope that you can find the love, the peace, and acceptance that you need. I know you will, because it's the direction you're moving in. And I appreciate all of your views from June. And if you resonated with the reading, please do give me a like. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Your support really counts and helps to grow my channel. And check out the astro map so you have a more detailed picture of what's going on and some helpful techniques to navigate through your month. And I'll see you in August for the August reading. Much love. Bye.